makes himself available for everyone. The devotee may be in a different state. Spiritually, he may be above a particular level. He would have been raised himself, but still he makes available. Devotees should be very careful to note this point. When we practice Krishna consciousness, unknowingly a feeling creeps inside that I am something very special. So when neophyte devotees come and ask something, we don't answer properly. We behave as though we are great. We are something very special. I am the chosen one. I am the blessed one. I am particularly handpicked by Krishna for this mission. Blah, blah, blah. Great thoughts and all used to come. A devotee is very simple and humble. He comes down and makes himself available. When a person comes and talks to him, the devotee makes him very comfortable. This is a wonderful quality of Vaishnava. You might have experienced. When you speak with certain devotees, you will feel there is a distance, there is a gap always, and you can never reach them closer. A guru can do that. Devotees in the level of spiritual master can do that. They can maintain a distance, because when we go too close, then we will start committing offense. So they built a gap. That is allowed. But normal devotees like us should be available. So here Jadabharata, when they just called him, and they were calling not for a great spiritual activity, they are calling him to carry a palanquin. And Jadabharata did not protesting or hesitating. He simply agreed and carried the palanquin. What a wonderful personality. He carried the palanquin. But he was very careful not to step on ants and insects. So every third step he keeps, he starts jumping. He was very conscious. He was very careful not to step on any tiny ant or anything. So he was jumping and crossing. And that created a disturbance for the king. A Kshatriya, ruler of the country, which is so much of attitude and feeling that I am the ruler, that feeling. Then he asked, "You fools, what are you doing? Can't you carry that palanquin properly? Why are you carrying uneven? What's happening?" And the carriers got so scared. They got scared and said, "Maharaja, it's not us. We are carrying properly. This new man who joined, he's not carrying properly. He's jumping while walking. Something wrong with him. They got so scared. And they said, this one, that, like that. Then, Maharaja Rahuguna understood that new person has joined. Maybe he's not experienced or whatever it is. So very sarcastically, Maharaja Rahuguna said, "Arey, old man." Jadabharata was a young man. Well built, good body, good muscles, strongly built. But Rahuguna Maharaja very sarcastically started speaking this. "Arey, old man, you are so lean and fragile. Maybe you are very weak. You have not taken food properly for many, many days." Making sarcastic comment and saying, "Why don't you carry properly? Because you are carrying a most important person. You are carrying the king. Why don't you carry?" Jadabharata simply smiled and continued walking. Even after the warning of Rahugana Maharaja, Jadabharata continued to do the same thing. He was jumping not to step on ants. And this time, king got wild. King got so angry. It seems in those days in army, when a king captures a messenger or a spy, how much ever they torture this person, he will not speak the truth. So, one of the methods used to pull the truth out of a person is to irritate him and make him angry. This is the only use out of anger. You will know what that person is exactly thinking about you. Everything will come out. They will blurt it out. Whatever they have kept in their heart for many, many days, many, many years, if you make them angry, they will say everything out, and you will know this is what this fellow was thinking about me. We will know all the hidden truths, everything will come out. So the king got so angry, irritated by Jataparata, and he said, you are carrying the king most important, you fool! Just a labor carrying. And he spoke a heavy thing on Jataparata. Disrespecting. Not realizing he is such a great personality. Very badly making bodily identities. Look at you. You are so fat like this. You are so this thing like this. Nowadays they use this new word called body shaming. So, these are all not new. Rahuguna Maharaja did that for Jataparata long years back, many years back. You are so fat, you are like this, you are like that, doesn't know how to carry. What kind of a fool are you? You are just my slave, an order carrier, a servant. You should simply do whatever I say. Or you take it down from me. You will be killed. You will be severely punished. When Rahuguna Maharaja spoke all this seriously, he actually committed an offense. He spoke that so seriously. Then smilingly, Jataparata started talking. After so long, Jataparata spoke. Buddha said this famous quotation, smile and silence can solve almost all the problems in this world. There is no great problems in this world which a smile and a silence cannot solve. Silence means by being non-reactive, and smiling means being very friendly, honestly. It can solve many problems in this world. So, Jataparata started talking to Rahuguna. He said, even though you are a king, I think you are in illusion. Doesn't know to identify what is right and what is wrong. Who is a king here? And who is a servant here? Today's servant may become tomorrow's king, and tomorrow's king may become the servant next day. And we are all stuck between three modes of material nature and dualities. Who is this speaking? From your statement, it is very obviously clear that you are unexperienced. He spoke towards the king. These personalities are never scared of speaking truth. You can see from Bhagavatam how Narada goes and preaches to Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kumbhakarna. Directly at the face they will say, they are not bothered. They know they are speaking the truth, speaking about Krishna. Narada Muni can walk into any kingdom, anybody, any king, demon, Danava, Daitya, and he can say whatever he wants. And Bharata also said this. When amazing spiritual topics were spoken by Bharata, immediately Rahuguna Maharaja asked them to stop the palanquin. He climbed down from the palanquin and fell flat at Bharata's feet. Amazing, such an intelligent person. When he realized that he has done a mistake, he immediately agreed. Aparadha functions in three categories. We should know very clearly how offense affects a person. One is committing offense unknowingly. If you commit an offense unknowingly, there will be some small punishment. Second, committing offense knowingly, that has got severe, little more heavy punishment. And the third is the most bad thing, committing offense knowingly and still continuing to do that and justifying that, arguing that that is right. This is a very severe offense. One is committing offense unknowingly, second committing offense knowingly, and the third committing offense knowingly and continuing it and still justifying that to be right. Here, Rahuguna committed unknowingly. Immediately he climbed down of the chariot, fell flat at Jataparata's feet and begged and said, what a great personality you were. I could not realize you. I'm very sorry. My illusion covered myself. Please, please. He begged and he spoke this famous verse 5:10:17. Can that verse be displayed? 5:10 Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 10th chapter and 17th shloka. Raghuguna Maharaja spoke this verse, an amazing shloka. You know, Naham Vishanke Suraraja Vajran Na Traksha Sutha Na Yamasya Dandat Nangri Arka Somani Lavitta Pashat Chanke Brisham Brahma Kulavamanat. Translation is so amazing in this that my dear sir, Raghuguna Maharaja is saying this to Jadabharata. My dear sir, I am not afraid of thunderbolt of Indra. I am not afraid of Indra's thunderbolt. I am not afraid of serpentine, piercing trident of Lord Shiva. I am not afraid of Lord Shiva. I am not afraid of Indra. I do not care about the punishment of Yamaraj, the superintendent of death. Nor am I afraid of fire, scorching sun, moon, wind, nor the weapons of Kuvera. But I am afraid of offending a Brahmana. I am very much afraid of this. And Prabhupada speaks about Vaishnava offense in this purport. An amazing shloka where immediately Raghuguna realized and said, I am not afraid of Indra, Shiva, Yama, even Yama, but I am afraid of committing an offense against a Brahmana or Vaishnava. Hurting a person, a sadhu, hurting a spiritual man who is carrying Krishna in his heart is more severe than demigod's punishment, Devata's punishment. Such a severe thing. And because Raghuguna Maharaja is a learned man and a very experienced man, immediately he jumped from the chariot, fell flat and begged for forgiveness. Very genuine he was. He begged for forgiveness. Then when he surrendered, Bharata understood now he is qualified to receive the message. When the heart is soft, any impression can be made on that butter. If the heart is like rock, how much ever you try to do, it won't work. Raghuguna Maharaja's heart melted, he surrendered. So here in the purports, Prabhupada is saying about verbal offense and mental offense and physical offense. When we commit offense mentally, sometimes we are very angry, we are very this thing about a devotee, we don't speak it out. But whole day we will be thinking about it. He spoke to me like this yesterday. He spoke to him about me, he commented about me, and 24 hours you will be thinking, and especially during the japa time. When you take mala in your hand, the whole picture will be going on, thinking about that person again and again and again. And suddenly you will realize, 16 rounds got over, amazing. You have never chanted, you are meditating on that person only. When we do manasa aparadha, mental offense, we will be highly disturbed. We cannot meditate or be focused on the chanting of the holy name. We will be disturbed.